Welcome to the LA Coliseum in the heart of Los Angeles. This has been the home of the LA Clash for NASCAR, and now it is time for the AAPCS to take its first swing at this beast. And we have 36 cars ready to enter into this event, and here's how the format is going to play out. We're going to have 4 heats and 2 LCQs. We're going to have 9 cars in each of those 4 heats. Only 5 of them are going to be able to race their way into the main feature event, which will be held within an hour's time. And the others that are not going to be able to make the top 5 in their heats, they are going to be sent to one of their 2 LCQs later on in this video. Heat 1 already lined up, as you could see in front of you right now. William Byron sat on the pole for the first heat. Now these heats were lined up as the way qualifying was set. First place will set first in heat number 1, second will set first in heat number 2, and of course you could already tell how that lineup is going to go down the running order. Now, of course, as I said before, 9 cars in each heat, and with these 4 heats, we're going to see 5-lap races around this quarter-mile racetrack, usually known for football and all other kind of Olympic sports, as this Coliseum has held the Olympics before in the past, and now it's time for NASCAR to take its turn once again. They've held 2 other races here before, as we would all know. In 2022, the inaugural Clash in the Coliseum, and then most recently this year with Martin Truex Jr. taking home the checkered flag in that event. And speaking of these drivers, let's get back to them. We already talked about William Byron. He is the pole sitter for heat number 1 and set the fastest time in qualifying earlier today, which puts him first in heat 1, obviously, with Martin Truex Jr. sitting right beside him in second place. Now, Martin Truex Jr. already talked about it. He won the Clash in 2023 earlier in February. Can he win this one for the AAPCS? There's only one way to find out, and that's to get these cars rolling to see how he's going to fare against his competitors in this heat. And he is also one of the favorites to win this thing. And all the way down in the back, Michael McDowell was fast in practice, but had a bad qualifying effort, which sent him back all the way to last place in heat number 1. Not a good start to his day, but will be able to possibly rebound as the cars are about getting ready to roll off, and there they go. They start to roll off now. Pace laps underway around this track. We have William Byron and Martin Truex Jr. on the front row, with Bubba Wallace and Mad Ross Chastain in row number 2, with Jones and Gillen in row number 3, as well as Ty Dillon and Kimi Räikkönen, the Iceman, in row number 4, as well as Michael McDowell in that last spot. Now, the race facts, of course, we already went over this. 5-lap heats, a quarter-mile track, 9 cars in the field, and the top 5 will advance to the feature event. And the cars are ready to roll around here, and we are green here in heat number 1. William Byron off with a great start, and Chastain almost gets spun off of the nose of Eric Jones there going into turn number 1. Jones is going to have a big lockup as they go down off of turn number 4, and Jones is in the wall. Both FRM cars shoved him up the track. McDowell with a big lockup trying to go for Ty Dillon for that final transfer spot. Now Gillen's going to be able to get around. Ty Dillon gets a little loose there on the exit of 4. Gillen's going to be all over the back of that 42 trying to get around him, and there's a bit of contact there going into 3. Almost spun him out as McDowell's going to fall behind with only 2 laps to go left in this heat. Bubba Wallace is all over the rear end of the leader of William Byron. He bumps him out of the way, and the white flag is now out for heat number 1. Wallace now to the lead. Truex following him right behind. William Byron falls down to 3rd place. Truex is going to bump Wallace out of the way and win heat number 1. And that was an incredible heat number 1. Really fast 5 laps. We're going to see that a lot, and Wallace not happy with the 19 machine. We're going to see why here in a minute. You see Wallace gets by Byron, Truex follows in right behind him, and then coming to the checkered flag, Truex bumps him out of the way, and Byron comes home to finish in 3rd place, as Chastain comes in 4th, with Gillen taking that final transfer spot, leaving Dillon, McDowell, Räikkönen, and Jones going to be in LCQ number 1. Now we see Heat 2 lined up here, and Heat 2 is not going to have their last 4 drivers go to LCQ number 1. No, they will be going to LCQ number 2. It's going to be Heat 1 and Heat 3's last 4 drivers that make up LCQ number 1, and last 4 in Heat 2 and 4 that make up LCQ number 2. Now, of course, we're going to be moving on to Heat number 2 here, as we have Denny Hamlin, the one that sits on the pole here, with Kyle Larson right to his outside in that number 500 Motorsports machine. And Denny Hamlin, he was fast in practice as well. He is going to be sitting on the pole for Heat number 2, qualified well in the good second place for qualifying, which puts him on the pole for this heat. And JGR seems to be really fast here, so maybe he could win this heat and have a JGR lockout for the feature, or could his teammate Christopher Bell do that, who's sitting 3rd? And Ryan Blaney, he's starting 5th, and he's looking fast, looking to be one of the favorites to possibly win this thing, as he was one of the fastest Fords that we saw in practice only a couple days ago. So look out for that Penske number 12 machine. He might be able to get it done here today. And then Chase Elliott, he's got his work cut out for him. He may be starting 7th, and he only needs to gain about 2 spots in order to get into the main event, but he does have a few heavy hitters ahead of him to get through in order to get into that feature event. Now the field's going to be rolling off. Once again, Denny Hamlin, Kyle Larson make up your front row, with Christopher Bell and Cole Custer sitting in row number 2, as Ryan Blaney and Chase Briscoe make up row number 3. And then, of course, the fan favorite Chase Elliott lined up against ace Austin Dillon, and Josh Bilicki rounds out the field in the number 77. Same facts as before in the heat number 1. Hamlin on pole this time, as we're going to take the green flag here in heat number 2. Kyle Larson and Hamlin are going to be side by side. They single file it out there. Top 5, actually, the entire field is all single file. You're going to see that a lot here in the Coliseum, as Hamlin leads the first 2 laps here. Going to go down into turn number 1, and there's trouble. Custer spins around, and it looked like to be off the bumper of his teammate, or maybe Chase Elliott pushing Briscoe into his teammate, which spun him around. You can see the replay there. Elliott right on the bumper of Briscoe, and that has broken the toe link for the 41 machine. Not good for the Stewart-Haas 41. 3 cars involved in that, and the choose cone being used here as well, obviously, as JGR is going to be lining up on the inside row with Christopher Bell pushing his teammate Denny Hamlin, and the green flag is back out here. And Hamlin's going to go wide with Larson, shoves him up the track, and now Bell's going to take over the lead. 3 wide for a moment there. And now you can see Chase Elliott taking over the final spot. And he's going to get bumped out of the way by Briscoe, probably showing his displeasure after what happened the last time. White flag in the air here for heat number 2. And Briscoe's going to get spun around. Caution's going to be out. That's going to end the heat. And that means Christopher Bell is going to win heat number 2. And Briscoe spun by Chase Elliott. We can see here that this is how Christopher Bell won the heat. He chose the inside lane, which was perfect for him because Hamlin managed to slide up into Kyle Larson, and Briscoe has spun Elliott on the cooldown lap. And we're going to take a look here to see what happened. Now, this is how it all started. Briscoe got pushed by Elliott into Custer, which caused him to spin, and then Elliott got by Briscoe. Briscoe trying to show his retaliation by shoving him up the track. He got back to the transfer spot, and then Elliott on the white flag spun the 14 around. And here are your results for heat number 2. Christopher Bell wins the heat, with Ryan Blaney finishing a good second. And first and third just swap positions there, it looked like, except obviously Elliott managed to get up into the top 5. Now here we see Heat 3 lined up here. We have the inaugural winner of the Busch Light Clash in the Coliseum, with Joey Logano starting up front, so he is definitely a favorite to win this event. We got a lot of underdogs in this heat here. We got Noah Gragson and Corey LaJoie, as well as Austin Cindric and Harrison Burton. So three Penske cars if you count Harrison Burton with the affiliate, the associate with Team Penske. And speaking of Team Penske, Joey Logano talked about him already, but he is the favorite to win this race. Of course, he was the inaugural winner of the Busch Light Clash at the Coliseum, so he will definitely be the favorite to win this race. Got a lot of work to do, though, to hold off Kurt Busch, the defending series champion. And then we got Chris Buescher, who was actually top 5 in practice in the RFK Ford Mustang. Nut number 17 was fast, so maybe he'll be able to make his way into the main event with no worries of the other drivers behind him. So he's looking to make some noise in that Ford. And we go down here to Corey LaJoie, the underdog. He was actually really fast as well. A lot of drivers were fast in practice. It was quite a back and forth for the top 10 during that time. But he didn't qualify as well as he should have. So he will have some work cut out for him. See how he will be able to make his way up through the field and maybe get to that top 5. And Joey Logano and Kurt Busch make up row number 1. Kurt Busch, your Season 3 champion, with Alex Bowman and Chris Buescher in row number 2. Harrison Burton and Brad Keselowski in row number 3, with Cindric, LaJoie, and Gragson rounding out the field. Joey Logano as on pole, as we have said plenty of times already. One of the fastest cars on track, looking to give some Penske some resurgence as the outside lane did not get going there on that green flag run. Kurt Busch is really slow as the inside line is going to prevail because of that. Not sure what's wrong with Kurt Busch, as he's really slow. He's falling outside of the top 10 or top 5 now, and he's stopping. And it sounds like it might have been a transmission issue within the 45 car. So that means that he will DNF from the heat, which means he's obviously not going to finish in the top 5, so he will go straight to the LCQ number 1. Very unfortunate for the 45, but we're going to be going back green here with Burton and Logano on the front row, and Cindric gets spun around going into turn number 1. Caution comes back out immediately. Now let's take a look and see how Cindric spun around, and it was off the bumper of Corey LaJoie. Cindric completely fine, though. No contact with the wall. He will be able to get that thing back going. So he still has a shot at finishing in the top 5, but it's very slim as we only have 3 laps left within this heat. So not a lot of time for him to do that all. And Burton's going to lock it up as we take the green flag once again. And LaJoie is now in the top 3. Once again, Burton locks it up going into turn number 3. Now Buescher's going to try and make the move around the outside of Gragson for the final transfer spot as Logano takes the white flag with Bowman all over his rear bumper. Here comes LaJoie on Bowman, going to take P2. Logano wins the heat, and both RFK cars are going to manage to make it into the feature without having to go through the LCQs. Now your results here. Logano wins the heat with LaJoie finishing runner-up with Bowman in 3rd. Both RFK cars within the top 5, and Kurt Busch having the DNF, which puts him in LCQ number 1. And now we can see here heat number 4, the final heat before we reach the LCQs. Going to be fun to see how those are going to play out. They're going to be very, very chaotic here. And this heat has been mixed up a lot because this heat only has 8 cars in the field, and we'll get to that in a minute. But starting second is Kyle Busch. Very, very fast. Can he manage to win this heat and get JGR 3 spots out of the 4 for the starting grid in roughly an hour? We'll have to wait and see how he performs against Tyler Reddick and Kevin Harvick, who is starting 3rd here today. Kevin Harvick, possibly within his final season, may stick around for one more before deciding to leave. A lot of rumors saying that he will be not sticking around for another season or 2, although we can only sit and speculate as to what's going to happen. And Daniel Suarez starting tail end of the field. and his time was completely disqualified after he broke a toe link in qualifying, which had him sent to the rear end after his team had to repair that car. And Justin Haley not in this heat because of this crash in qualifying, a bad hit for the 31 car. They were not able to roll out that backup, which means that Justin Haley is going to be going straight into LCQ number 2. So he definitely has his work cut out from a lot of pressure on that colleague racing car, and that's the first time that colleague has ever made a start in this series, so a lot of bad luck thrown towards that team, and hopefully Justin Haley can race his way into that final LCQ and get his team some very much satisfactory finish. And Tyler Reddick starting on pole with Kyle Busch right to his outside, and a lot of rumors saying that Kyle Busch might be taking over that 8 car next year with Kevin Harvick and Almirola in row number 3, and of course you saw the rest of the field there. And Tyler Reddick obviously sitting on pole. Haley will start in LCQ, not able to make a start here in heat number 4. And with all those engines roaring now, coming off of turn 4, green flags in the air for Tyler Reddick. What a great jump for the 8 car, and now Kevin Harvick's looking to the inside as he started 3rd. Kyle Busch didn't get the best start there at the beginning, and Kevin Harvick is now going to take over the lead over Tyler Reddick. 2 laps completed here. Here comes Suarez flying through the field. He's trying to make it up to the top as he's promoted himself all the way up into P4 into P5 already, as he's only had to pass 3 cars, and Kaz Gralla very slow. He's off the pace. He held up Harvick there as the white flag is now out in heat number 4. Down the backstretch to go. Can Tyler Reddick have something for Harvick? It doesn't look like it. Harvick's going to win heat number 4, and Suarez almost took over P4 there from Almirola. Didn't matter though, as he was able to qualify into this event. Now, of course, Kevin Harvick wins the heat, which puts him P4 for the main event, and Tyler Reddick P2 in this heat, as well as Kyle Busch in P number 3. Now here is LCQ number 1, the last chance qualifier, or one of the last chance qualifiers for these drivers. 8 cars in this field, and Kurt Busch managed to have his car repaired in time for this race. So he's going to try to make his way into the main event with that 2311 machine. Now we're going to take a look here at Michael McDowell. He had a lot of speed in heat number 1, but it only showed up later on in the heat, which was not good enough for him as he finished P7 in that race, which obviously is not enough to finish or to qualify for the main event. So he will have to win this heat in order to qualify. Yes, that's right. You have to win this heat in order to qualify into the main event. Only 22 cars can make the field. And Eric Jones, he's looking for a bounce back from heat number 1. As you remember, he had a bad lockup in the first lap of that race, which caused him to lose all of that ground and then got walled later on. And then, of course, our bigger story, Kurt Busch has a lot of work cut out for him as he had a transmission fail in heat number 3, which put him in this position. Now he's going to have a lot of cars to pass in order to make his presence known in the main event. And here's how they line up. Ty Dillon on pole with Michael McDowell right to his outside, with Kimi Räikkönen, the Iceman, to the inside of that Jones boy, Eric Jones in the 43, and then Gragson, as well as Cindric in row number 3, and Harrison Burton and Kurt Busch round out your field. Now these LCQs are a little bit longer than the heats, 8 laps, and of course you have to win in order to make it in, and the green flag is in the air for Ty Dillon and McDowell. Side by side, all the way down the backstretch, they're going to single file it out, top 3. All single file, and Gregson's making the move for 3rd place already on Kimi Räikkönen. He's going to promote himself up into P3, and you can see Kurt Busch already making moves. He's passed 2 cars already. That's good. That's a good sign for him. He's making the move on Jones now, and now he's up into P4. But can he make the move as McDowell's trying to make a move for the lead on Ty Dillon? He's going to lead that lap, and we only have 4 laps to go in this heat, or in this LCQ. You see Kurt Busch making a lot of moves. He's going to try and make him... He puts himself into third place now as he gets past Gregson. Now he's hunting down the 42 machine. He's flying right now as he's already up into P2. Now trying to hunt down Michael McDowell. We only have 2 laps to go. Coming to the white flag this time by the quarter-mile track. Only a little bit of time to make your moves. He's going to have to try something here. He's going to send it into the corner. It's not going to be enough. And Michael McDowell is going to win his way into the main event. And you can see Kurt Busch tried that last-minute lunge down into turn number 3. Obviously, that really upset his car and caused him to lose a lot of grip. He still finishes P2, but obviously not able to make it into the feature, so he is out of the main event. And now here in LCQ number 2, the final race before we are able to see the entire field go around this beautiful quarter-mile racetrack for 45 laps. That is how long the main event is going to be. Now, a strange pole sitter here, Josh Bilicki, after finishing 6th in heat number 1, heat number 2, he is going to be starting on pole for this race. Not something you see every single day. The Spire Motorsports 77 starting on the front row. And then Chase Briscoe looking for redemption after what happened between him and Chase Elliott in heat number 2 caused a lot of drama and controversy between those 2 drivers. He's starting P3, and as well as Cole Custer, who had fixed its toe link after a crash that was also the cause from Chase Elliott. And then Justin Haley starting dead last, looking to bounce back after that bad crash in qualifying. So hopefully he'll be able to make his way up through the field and try his best to win this race in order to make himself one of the very few entries into the main event, as we see right here. Josh Bilicki and Austin Dillon on the front row with Stewart Haas Racing teammates Briscoe and Custer in row number 2. And then, of course, Ryan Preece and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. in row number 3 with Kaz Grala and Justin Haley rounding out the field. And then, of course, your race facts here. Bilicki on pole. The winner of this race gets to stamp his name into the entry list. And here we go. Green flags in the air for the final race until the main event. Briscoe shoved the 77 up the track, and he's going to fall to 3rd. Briscoe now takes over the lead as Stenhouse gets around him, and Justin Haley already making passes. He's already up into P number 5. Making his way around Cole Custer, he's now up into P4. What can he do as he's going to dive it down into turn number 3? All over the rear bumper of Josh Bilicki, dives down to the inside. He's going to clear him P3 now for the 31. Now he's all over the rear bumper of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Stenhouse tries to fight for that spot, and it wasn't enough. Haley's now around him. 3 laps to go here in this race, and Grala's holding them up once again. Very slow car out here today. Can Justin Haley prevail as we have 2 more laps to go? Down to the inside of Briscoe. Can he hold him off? Clears him really, really fast. All over the rear bumper is Chase Briscoe. White flag in the air. What can Briscoe do here? Down the backstretch they go. Can he do it? He's going to dive bomb him. Contact between the 2 drivers. And Haley is going to be able to win his way into the final spot. And what a way to do it, a very dramatic fashion way of doing things here in the Coliseum, as Briscoe dove it down in there at the last minute, didn't do it well enough, and Haley, from last to first within 8 laps, manages to win the race, and it was a great way to do it. And here are the drivers that are going to be going home. 14 drivers going home out of the 36 entries. 22 drivers were only 22 drivers could make it into the main event. And now that field is set, we only have about an hour before the chaos will continue, as we can see how chaotic and hectic these races can get in just a short amount of time, especially with all of that desperation setting in the closing moments of the race. But we've already said it before, main race will be in about an hour, and we will see all of you guys in that main event.